Welcome back to another episode of the Hormone Hub podcast, where we talk all things perimenopause, menopause, and have the conversations no one else is having. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Hello, ladies. Welcome back to the Hormone Hub. I'm your host, Kylie Pinwell, and today on the show we have Stephanie Grosvenor. So Stephanie and I met earlier this year. I was a guest on Stephanie's summit, which was really, really fun. And I think you're really going to enjoy today's episode. So welcome, Stephanie. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Kylie. It's great to be here. I love that we get to connect from across the world.
I know. So Stephanie was in Florida when we did the summit, and she's currently in South Africa. So yeah, we've transglobal, and we were just talking about how great it is that we have technology to figure out time zones for us. Okay, so Stephanie's a nutritionist and a functional medicine health coach. She specialises in working with high-achieving women, driven professionals who want to up-level their health so they can thrive with confidence in their business, relationships, and all areas of their life. So Stephanie and I are definitely speaking to the same ladies. She's also the co-founder and head formulator of Vitamin G Nutraceuticals and the host of the Global Wellness Summit, the Healthy Living Blueprint, which we just had. So, and I'm sure some of you went along to as well. So Stephanie's also the creator and the host of the Good Health Revolution, which is South Africa's largest ever health and wellness event. And through her own 15-year battle against chronic health issues, Stephanie has learned how to heal her body through holistic natural remedies and lifestyle changes. So we are speaking the same language, and yeah, we always have so much fun when we catch up. So thanks, Stephanie, for being on the show today.
We're going to have so much fun. This is one of my favorite things to do, just sharing knowledge, empowering women, and really helping them take their health and ultimately their life to the next level, just like you.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we thought we sort of numbed over a few different topics that we could cover, but we thought we'd talk about the gut hormone connection, which I think is it's sort of that conversation that we can't have too many times ever. So, and regular listeners will know that I'm constantly talking about gut health, but I don't think we've sort of put the two together. So, Stephanie, how does your gut health sort of affect your hormonal health?
Oh my goodness, an easier question,
big question. We're going
to answer. It would probably be, how does gut health not affect your hormones? Because that's going to be a very, very short answer. But your gut is involved in almost every single physiological process within the body, including producing a lot of your hormones. Many of your hormones are produced within the gut. And then a lot of the bacteria that live in our gut are also responsible for sending out messages to other glands within the body to help regulate hormone production. So not only are they creating the hormones, but your gut is also communicating with the rest of the body, telling the body what the levels of certain hormones should be. So your gut is a vital role in your whole endocrine and hormonal system. So some of the common hormones that we see associated with gut health are things like serotonin, your happy hormone. 95% of your happy hormone of serotonin is actually produced in the gut. So when we don't have enough of the bacteria that produce the serotonin, this is where you're going to start feeling or having feelings of depression, anxiety, all this kind of stuff. So it doesn't make sense necessarily that we're going to the doctor with depression, anxiety. For many, many years, we've been told depression is an imbalance in the brain, a chemical imbalance in the brain, completely off the ball there. So it doesn't help that we're treating depression and anxiety from a brain perspective when the actual problem could very well be within the gut. Yes. So that serotonin, that neurotransmitter, which is almost like a brain hormone, if we could call it that, is also responsible for creating what we call melatonin. Melatonin is your sleep hormone. So serotonin is, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but serotonin is a precursor.
Our ladies are very familiar with melatonin, and the fact that they're not sleeping.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially at the phase that a lot of your audience are going through at the moment. So if we don't have enough serotonin within your gut, it's going to affect your melatonin production and obviously create experiences of insomnia and very low quality sleep. So those are two areas that play a vital role, or how gut is, sorry, I'm losing my words here, but how your gut health is a very important
hello,
role.
perimenopause.
Secondly, the hormones that I really want to highlight here, a lot of women are currently experiencing thyroid issues. And your gut plays a role in regulating or communicating with your TSH, your thyroid hormone. So we cannot tackle a thyroid issue without first looking at your gut health. So we need to make sure that the bacteria within the gut is well balanced. We have enough of the good bacteria that is contributing to our hormonal health, and that we're decreasing the bad bacteria that is interfering with our hormone production and communication. But the one hormone I really want to highlight within this gut hormone connection, obviously we also can talk about our appetite hormones. Your gut is involved in ghrelin, the production of ghrelin, which is your appetite hormone. It basically tells us when to eat, as well as leptin, which is a satiation hormone, which tells us when to stop eating when we are full. And if your gut we've got too much bacteria producing too much ghrelin, too much leptin, that's obviously going to affect our appetite as well. You will find no matter how much you're eating, you're always hungry. You don't have those feelings of being full. It can play a very big role in weight, as well as if we don't have enough of those hormones, we're not going to have a very healthy appetite. And we know we need that healthy appetite to make sure we're getting in the vital nutrients that we need. We can't spend all day fasting because we don't have an appetite and just depriving our body of vital nutrients. It's also not a good way to be healthy or to lose weight or anything.
And then wonder why we're tired.
And then wonder why we're tired. Exactly. So the one hormone I really want to highlight here that's very, very important with gut health is estrogen. And this is something that not a lot of people understand is actually connected to your gut. So when the body is producing estrogen, once it's been used within the body, it is then filtered through the liver. It is metabolized in the liver, and it's basically packaged up. Think about having a trash bag and putting a little tag on the trash bag to say, this is trash, get it out the house. Yeah. And that's pretty much what's happening within your liver. Your liver is packaging this estrogen that's no longer needed, and it is then sent to your gut to be eliminated. Now, we've got bacteria in the gut that produce what we call beta-glucuronidase. We need this enzyme within our gut, but when we have dysbiosis, too much bacteria that is creating too much beta-glucuronidase, what happens is that bacteria, it's almost like snipping off that tag on the trash bag. And instead of this estrogen being eliminated, it then gets reabsorbed back into the body. This leads to what we call estrogen dominance, and is a core factor in conditions like PCOS, endometriosis, even breast cancer, ovarian cancers, all this kind of stuff. And that high estrogen, this estrogen dominance, can also lead to symptoms like weight gain, especially around our stomach, mood swings, severe PMS symptoms, all this kind of thing, anxiety, and just feeling really, really emotional, where everything wants to make you cry. Child left a sock on the floor, and all of a sudden it's just too much for you to handle, and you can't anymore. You are in tears. This sort of emotional state is often a sign of estrogen dominance. So when we are dealing with people with PCOS, struggling with weight, all this kind of thing, and we check your estrogen, if it is high, one of the first things we do is work on your gut health, and then together with your liver as well. So does that give you a good overview of how important gut health is in hormone regulation?
Yes, amazing. Thank you. And I think you've explained it so beautifully. And I don't think I've explained it ever on the show, just how that connection with our gut and our hormones are to that level. So that's great. And I think this is going to be an episode that I'm going to pull out every time sort of we've got a lady in our community who sort of says, oh, yeah, but my gut's terrible. And we'll go, I'm always hungry, or I keep eating and I never feel full is another one I hear a lot. So I think you've done a beautiful job of explaining it. And also I love that analogy of putting the tag on the trash to take out that estrogen, and then somehow that tag gets taken off, it gets recycled through, and we've got that whammy of that high sort of estrogen. So I think you've explained it beautifully. So thank you. So what are some signs then that your gut needs some TLC?
Yes, great question. There's a big misconception. I work with clients all the time when they come to me for, many people come to me for gut issues, but there's a lot of women who are coming to me just for support with weight or thyroid conditions. And when I ask them about their gut, they say, I don't have any gut issues, because there's a common thinking that gut issues translate into symptoms like gas and bloating and abdominal pain. And of course, those things are a sign that your gut is imbalanced, as well as, constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux, all sort of digestive related symptoms. When you are dealing with something like that, clearly there is a gut problem happening, a gut imbalance. However, not all gut imbalances will lead to symptoms just related to the digestive system. So we may have conditions or symptoms that we're experiencing that seem completely unrelated to your gut.
Yes.
And that is conditions like acne. Most people think that acne is a hormonal problem.
Yes.
Where most of the time it's actually a gut and food problem, not a hormonal problem.
Yep.
Joint pain or chronic pain is a very clear sign that your gut is disrupted. Your gut and your liver together, they always work hand in hand.
Yes.
Anxiety and depression, very, very clear.
Huge.
That there's a
links
problem.
That serotonin. Yeah.
It does. One of the ways. There's many, many ways that the sort of your mental health and your guts are connected. We'll have to do a whole nother episode on that.
We can talk about this all day.
Oh my goodness. But so anxiety, depression, low moods, very, very common sign that there's a gut problem. And then autoimmune disease. Anytime, no matter what the autoimmune condition is, it might be rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Hashimoto's, whatever it is, you are guaranteed in 97% of autoimmune cases, leaky gut, gut dysbiosis are present. So if you have been diagnosed or you borderline according to your labs, take a look at your gut health. It is the number one place that you will start working.
100%. And I think for ladies listening, like if you go to any natural health practitioner, we will always start with your gut. Whether you think there's an issue or not, as you just said, it doesn't show up as, oh, I'm always constipated. And I think the trap with digestion is people look at their digestive system, and because they're so used to it, it's their normal. So they're just so used to it. So they think it's normal to only go to the bathroom and poop 2 or 3 times a week. Whereas, and people get used to that, but it's actually a really good indicator that no, that's your normal, but it's not actually normal. It's not what we want to see.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. I've heard so often, just some of the common things that I hear a lot of ladies say is, it's just the way my body is. So if they are only going to the bathroom once a day or once every 3 days, or they are bloated all the time, it's just the way my body is. And I've been guilty of that for many years as well, thinking it's just me, accepting it.
Oh, I've always had it. So,
They've always had it. And the second thing that I hear a lot is women saying to me, but they don't experience any bloating. That's not a problem for them until they actually go through a gut healing protocol. And within 5 days, they're like, what's going on with my stomach? Like, I didn't realize I was bloated before. I thought it was just the way my body is. So they don't even realize they're having that specific condition or symptom.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, because they're just so used to the way their body is.
Always been that way.
Yeah. So what are the things that are likely to disrupt our gut health?
Everything. Unfortunately, everything.
As I'm sort of asking that question, I was like, all of the things.
Definitely. But some of the common culprits that we come into contact with every day is, of course, our food. Our food is a vital role in disease, in healing, in all this kind of thing. So foods that are really, really disruptive for the gut is, of course, gluten. even if you are somebody who does not have a gluten sensitivity or you're not celiac, I can promise you now gluten is not doing your body any favors.
Yeah.
So that is causing a huge issue within your gut. It's the first thing that I will recommend, or it's a second thing I recommend people to do when they are on a gut healing journey. So gluten, dairy can be also very, very disruptive. Even if you're not lactose intolerant, it can still create a lot of inflammation within your gut.
Yes.
So we don't tell people necessarily to stop dairy for the rest of their life, but when you do an initial healing journey of your gut, initial like 6 or 8 weeks, we do encourage you to get off of dairy during that time to rebalance the gut. Sugar, of course, is a very big disruptor. Your refined sugars, it feeds the bad bacteria and overgrows.
They love nothing more than a good hit of sugar.
Right? They do. And it creates so many cravings as well. When you have a overload of that bad bacteria, that's where you experience a lot of cravings. It's not willpower or lack of willpower while you keep finding your hand in the cookie jar. It's gut dysbiosis.
Yes.
So some other foods that are really, really detrimental is seed oils, which we find in most processed food. Your bag of chips, your cookies, all this kind of stuff is a lot of your pre-made meals, your dinners, all that kind of thing have a ton of seed oils. Your sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil, which was one of the biggest harmful things that's ever been taught in our society that's heart healthy. It is, please avoid canola oil wherever you can.
Absolutely.
So those are some of the most common culprits. If you have been dealing with a digestive issue for many, many years, you may have more food sensitivities than you used to, or more things that are triggering your gut. Even healthy foods, things like citrus or grains could be very inflammatory and causing the problem. It doesn't mean that they are bad foods. And I try to get people all the time to not look at food as good food or bad food.
Yep.
Just, is this good for me right now, or is this bad for me right now?
I love that.
Some of those,
I say exactly the same thing.
Awesome. We're always on the same page. So some of these things that are disrupting your gut could just be disrupting it right now, and you may need to get off of it while your gut heals, but eventually you can bring them back in. But those 4 I mentioned are sort of the main culprits from a food aspect. Another big destroyer or disruptor of our gut is unfortunately stress. And we live in a world of, chronic stress has become normal, and it's something that a lot of people actually wear almost as like a badge of honor. Yeah. I'm so busy and I'm so stressed and I'm doing X, Y, and Z all day. And,
I just push through and I soldier on and
Exactly. And I'm not judging that mindset. I was very much in that mindset when I was younger.
I can fall into that mindset on a regular basis, and I have to catch myself. Go, hang on, stop, slow down, back it up.
Very true. Very true. So stress is something we need to look at. We need to manage. This is why a lot of people who are diagnosed with IBS, your doctor will often say to you, it's stress. It's related to stress, or you get a flare-up, an IBS flare-up during times of deep stress, because stress is like almost weed killer for all your gut bacteria, unfortunately.
Autoimmune flare-ups as well.
Autoimmune flare-ups, exactly.
Hormonal issues, the hot flushes, the
stresses.
All linked back with stress, 100%.
It really is. It really is. So when you're working on gut health, you need to work on, or if you're working on any area of your health, you need to work on stress at the same time in various ways. And then, of course, we've got our common chemicals and toxins that we find, whether it's in our food as pesticides, herbicides, or the toxins and chemicals we have in our skincare, our cleaning products, all that kind of stuff. Also very, very disruptive for our gut, very disruptive for our hormones, which we're familiar with. We've been told for a very long time that these chemicals are hormone disruptors, but they end up killing off the bacteria within your gut. They aggravate leaky gut, and then all those toxins are not getting eliminated from the body, but they end up being absorbed into your bloodstream and get stuck in various other organs and tissues, and it's just a disaster. It's not what we want. And then the last thing I'll mention that's quite common is also medications. Even your chronic prescription medications. I'm not saying to ditch all of those. Of course, you always have to to be cautious with that. But your medications, your over-the-counter anti-inflammatories, I don't know what the common ones are in Australia, but things like Panado or Advil or ibuprofen, all those kinds of things are really disruptive for gut bacteria.
That's the thing, Michael. And a lot of people are taking different medications as well without kind of like thinking that each one has an impact on our body as well. So sort of like layering one over the top. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's true for supplements as well. More is not always better.
Yeah,
and we can spend thousands of or hundreds of dollars every month taking supplements because we know we need vitamin C and vitamin D and ashwagandha, whatever the common treatment one is at the moment.
Yeah.
And it actually just puts so much strain on our bank account as well as on our body. More is not always better. You need to be very
prescribing, ladies.
Self-prescribing, yes.
Stop buying stuff off Facebook. Yeah, no, and I think because I'm talking about menopause all the time, I get hit with all the gut supplements, the menopause supplements in my feed all the time. And I just think, oh my God, and these things are so expensive. I'm like, stop.
They are. And when you know what to look for within your supplements, you see a lot of these things that they may have very good ingredients, but the doses are so low, it's not going to do anything for your body. So I always advocate, like, I love that you are investing in your health and you're trying to be proactive and do what you can to look after your body and take care of your health, but become clear on why you are taking what you are taking. What is it doing within the body, or what is it supposed to support? And be very intentional with picking what you're taking. I'm talking chronic medication and supplementation. Whatever you're putting into your body, be clear why you are doing it.
Yeah, no, exactly. We're singing the same song. Hello, I see you there, juggling work, family, life, all while navigating perimenopause and menopause. But guess what? Maybe it's time to break up with the hustle and grind. Going on a retreat is more than just about a vacation. It's an investment in your well-being and a step towards a happier, healthier you. So take a moment, consider the benefits of a retreat and give yourself the gift of rejuvenation and self-care. Self-care is all about giving the best of you, not what's left of you. I want you to save $500 now, jump in for the Reignite You retreat. We're running in Bali in April 2024 and October 2024. And yes, we sure do have payment plans available. See you there. All right. So with all of this gut dysbiosis going on, what can we do to sort of support our gut to help rebalance those hormones?
Yes. Great question.
And also a very big question.
It is. The first thing I encourage people to do, and this is for gut health, for immune health, for hormone health, for everything, is eat the rainbow. This is not the first time you're hearing it. You probably have 1,000,001 experts saying this, which is good because we're all saying the same thing. You know it's got to be true. There's very good reason for it. So eating the rainbow, you need to get a variety of different color within your diets. And here is where we really focus on variety over quantity.
Yes.
And what I start doing when I start working with clients is we aim to get a variety of 30 different whole foods each week. Yeah. And ideally, you actually want between 50 and 60 for optimal health. But when you're starting out, that seems insane.
Yes.
Even when I suggest to people just start with 30, at first they're like, but that's impossible. How are we doing it? But we're not talking about 30 cups sort of thing, just a variety of 30 different ingredients throughout the week or whole foods. And when you know how to do this, it becomes incredibly easy.
Yes.
And I have every single one of my clients within that first week are hitting 30, just, when you understand how to do it. So that would be my first bit of advice. Get your 30 whole foods in. What I notice is for some people who I start working with, they are eating relatively healthy, but when we take a look at their whole food intake, they're only hitting about 12 or 15 different whole foods, because it's blueberries every day for breakfast. It's, broccoli every night with dinner, which are great foods, but we get stuck in this sort of autopilot, eating the same things all the time.
Yes.
And that's going to cause a lot of disruption within the gut, because you're feeding some of the good guys, but not all of the good guys within your gut. And they're going to get really weak and they're going to die off. So whole foods, eating a variety of whole foods, eat the rainbow is number one for improving your gut health.
I love
it. Number two is the tricky one, but start small, start to eliminate gluten.
Yeah.
And you can do this over time, just looking at where are you eating gluten most often. Is it in your toast? Is it in your sauces? There's gluten in everything. So we need to take a look and get start to eliminate the things, or swap out. I tell people, don't remove anything, just replace it with a healthier option. So if you're eating pizza, have a gluten-free pizza. If you're eating sandwiches or toast, have gluten-free bread, healthy gluten-free bread.
Gluten-free products, like, still read the ingredients, because there's a lot of gluten-free junk food out there. So read the ingredients. If they sound like real food ingredients, go for it. If it sounds like a science experiment, leave it.
Most definitely, because most of your gluten-free products, when you're going gluten-free, we advocate for you to use naturally gluten-free foods, like your quinoa is gluten-free instead of having barley or couscous or whatever the case is. Yeah. So naturally gluten-free.
Lettuce cups instead of wraps and burritos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very, very good option. It's a great way to increase your whole foods. It's great for your gut. So start small, start to get gluten out, but give yourself a month to do it, to swap out all these things, because there's unfortunately no such thing as a low gluten diet. You can have a low fiber, you can have a low fat, don't have a low fat, but I mean, you can. Low carb.
Being a little bit pregnant. You either have gluten in your system and you are pregnant, like, not at the same time, but you've got gluten in your system or you don't. And you're either pregnant or you're not. You're never a little bit pregnant. So it's the same
very. It is. And give yourself that transition period, because to stop right away is tricky for some people. But even if you are having that, it's just a cookie here and there, it's just a pancake or just one slice of toast, with the moment that gluten hits your body, it can very likely trigger the start of antibodies again. So we unfortunately cannot have a low gluten diet, especially in the initial healing phase. It's something we have to get out completely. So we basically want to remove the things that are triggering our gut. And for you, it might even be grains or oats. And you feel, whenever I eat this, I'm getting bloated, I feel horrible. So you need to remove whatever your triggers are.
Joints is another really common one with gluten.
Very, very much so. Very much so. And it's interesting, because we can tie back the way we're feeling to what we've drank. If you go out at night, you have wine, you have beer, whatever the case is, you wake up the next day, you feel awful. You have a hangover because what you put in your body was poison for your body. Your body's responding in a really bad way. Yet we don't. It's more difficult for us to make that connection with food when we do have.
So true.
Or we go to a restaurant and we have something that's, chips or something that's deep fried, and we wake up the next day feeling awful. And we're like, I don't know what's going on. I've got no energy. I've got a headache. I feel grumpy. You don't think, oh, was it the food yesterday? Is this a food hangover?
No, it's so common. We're not tuned in, or we're not ever sort of taught or suggested to tune to how food makes us feel. That's true. Yeah.
So your food is definitely somewhere where you need to start, but food is one aspect. We want to take out the triggers, and then we want to put in what our body needs to heal in terms of the different colors of a variety of foods. But then we need to look at repairing the gut. And this comes down really to your gut lining, the leaky gut. And this is where we would want to use certain nutrients. And we need to do all these things together. We can't just be doing one and not the other, because that's exactly what I did many years ago when I started out on my own journey. And it took me many, many years to heal, and wasted so much money because I paid every month for all these supplements. I wasn't 100% consistent, and I didn't make any of the lifestyle changes. So I completely wasted my time and my money. But there's specific nutrients we really do need to include while we are healing the gut. And that's things like L-glutamine, collagen, omegas, vitamin D, vitamin C, just to name a few. Even some herbals, maybe like slippery elm is something we can look at. And again, when you are supplementing to heal your gut, it comes down to consistency. You need to be doing this 5 to 7 days a week.
Yes.
Taking it 3 to 4 days is not going to help.
Once every blue moon does not work.
No, it's not going to help. And the second thing is dosages.
Yep.
Again, you need to make sure that you're taking the right dose every day for healing. If you're taking 1 or 2 grams of L-glutamine, you're not doing anything. You need 6 to 10 or whatever the case is. Of course, work with your practitioner. Even your collagen, 3-4 grams of collagen is doing nothing for you. You need 10, 15, maybe even 20, all these kind of things.
And that's the thing. Yeah, and we're trained what the therapeutic dose is. And, if you're not hitting that therapeutic dose, you may as well be having M&Ms. It's really not giving your body what it needs.
Definitely. And this is why a lot of women are experiencing or have this thought, this mindset that I've tried everything and nothing is working, because they have been taking a gut healing supplement. They have been adjusting their diet or going low gluten, maybe not taking out all the things that are triggering for them, like the grains, if that's the case, even nuts, which are super healthy. We're like getting all my omegas in, but nuts are maybe the problem for you. And they're spending money on these supplements out of really trying to make a difference, but the dose is so low that we get demotivated after 3 months or 6 months, sometimes even a year. Like, I've been taking all these supplements, spent all this money, nothing is helping. And that's where we often tend to give up and just feel so deflated with our health journey. So we want to look at repairing the gut lining with the right supplements, the right doses, and being consistent. We then want to repopulate the gut by using probiotics. So pro and prebiotics through your food. So fermented foods like sauerkraut and kimchi, all these things I'm sure you've spoken about quite a lot on your podcast, as well as supplementation. And the one thing with probiotics is more is not always better.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that we're getting the right probiotics in, but it doesn't have to be 100 billion. Maybe some people need 100 billion CFU, but maybe for you at this stage, less is maybe better.
Small is what I always recommend, because too many probiotics can also backfire as well.
Definitely, especially if you are dealing with a condition like SIBO, which is one that's not really spoken about that much. There's far less education on SIBO than what there is on IBS. And if I'm not mistaken, the statistic is 84% of IBS cases, SIBO is actually what's causing it. And when we're taking a lot of probiotics, we're making the SIBO worse. We're eating whole food, we're making the SIBO worse kind of thing. So it's something we need to take in mind. And this is why I recommend to always work with a practitioner who understands gut health, because you don't want to be fixing what you think is the problem, but it's actually SIBO, and everything you're doing is making that worse. So make sure you're working with somebody who knows how to really dive into these. So that would be the way we would look at fixing the gut, removing the triggers, repairing with or replacing with good food, repairing the gut microbiome, the digestive tract, your leaky gut, and then repopulating your gut with the good guys. And the last thing I would say that is very important to look at as well is rebalancing. And when we talk about rebalancing, it's not just rebalancing the gut microbiome, but it's not just rebalancing your internal body, but your environment as well. And this is where stress management plays a big role. Because we need to look at what got you in this position in the first place. Is it high stress? Is it a lack of sleep? Is it spending too much time sitting indoors, not being outside in nature? Because you can go through a 6 or 8 week or maybe even 3-month gut healing protocol, but you don't want to be back in the office, in your doctor's office 6 months later with the same problem. So we want to look at balancing your internal environment, your mindset as well, and your external environment to make sure that you're not going to have the same problem going forward.
Absolutely. It's a 360 view of your health.
It is. Quizzes.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, like I said, this is such a valuable, episode, and I think, or such a valuable conversation. I think this is something that I'm going to be dragging out and sharing over and over and over again. So I appreciate your knowledge and your time and being so generous with everything today. Now, your generosity doesn't stop there. You do have a little giveaway for all of our listeners. So a free Thriving Life Creation session, which is amazing. So to help you understand the root cause of your health challenges and develop a roadmap for healing, so you can get back to a thriving life. So Stephanie, that's amazing. So do you want to talk us through how that works?
Of course, yes. Kylie, thank you so much for your kind words. And it's been so fun to chat with you, connect with you again, and hopefully give some deeper insights to your audience. I hope they find this information very valuable and supportive. So yes, as you said, I'd love to offer anybody who is dealing maybe with digestive issues or just looking to take their health to the next level, maybe feeling a bit let down by conventional medicine support that they've been getting, and looking for a deeper or different approach to really getting to the root cause and healing. I would love to offer them just a free Thriving Life session. We can jump on a call, have a chat, find out what they're dealing with. I always say it comes down to asking the right questions. If you haven't found a solution right now, it's because nobody's been asking the right questions. So that's what I'm happy to do with your audience. Let's ask the right questions to lead us to the answers, and then help you to develop a roadmap going forward that you can follow to heal your body and take your health to the next level, because it's possible for every single one of us when we just know the right steps to take.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So I will put the link, if you are interested in having a chat with Stephanie, I will put the link to book in a call with her into our show notes. So make sure you jump in at kyliepinwell.com/podcast and you'll find the episode in there. So thank you so much, Stephanie. This has been great. I've loved every second of our conversation, and I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Kylie. And I've had so much fun. I always do. And I look forward to doing this again with you in future, and having you back on the summit as well. Every time we chat, it's just a good time.
It is. It is. It's always good fun. And, at the end of the day, that's what life is all about too. So, stress management is catching up with good people who make you laugh. All right. Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for taking the time to listen today. You can head on over to the show notes at kyliepinwell.com/podcast, where you'll find all the links. Now, before we go, it would mean the world to me if you'd head on over to your favourite podcast channel, subscribe and leave a review. Don't forget to share it with your friends. And stay tuned for next week's episode, and I can't wait to see you then.